Hi, this is Stu from Murst Instruments, and in this video I'll be doing a walkthrough of Stone version 1.1. I like to think of Stone as a texture synthesizer, and what this really means is that you can blend the four banks together to create interesting soundscapes and textures. Using the built-in effects, you can then shape and contour the sound to eke out really interesting qualities. The Stone interface revolves around a grid which represents the 16 instruments. The instruments are then grouped into banks of 4. So you have 4 banks, each with 4 instruments. The banks are laid out on a split keyboard. So bank A is on the left side, bank B and bank D are in the middle, and bank C is on the right side. Let's have a look at bank A first. As you can see, the bank is laid out horizontally. The grid in the middle selects a different instrument for each button. On the left, you can see volume and pan for each bank, and on the right, the attack and release for the envelope of each bank. Selecting the buttons, you can hear how the instrument changes. So you can quickly select instruments using the buttons and build your texture synthesizer. In Update 1.1, I've added bank level control over the effects. Let's have a look at the effects. Below we have a low pass filter, a high pass filter, then we have a saturation effect. The saturation effect is at instrument level, which means that it applies to the whole instrument. Next we have phase, which can be interesting, particularly for creating organ or swirling sounds. Here we have stereo modeling. This turns your instrument either into a stereo patch or a mono. This effect is also at instrument level, meaning it affects all of the banks together. Next we have room reverb, which realistically mimics a room or a hall. This is particularly useful for the cello instruments. Finally, we have blur, which is an interesting reverb type effect, but it's actually a microsecond delay. It takes tiny slices of the audio and spreads them out into a wash. From version 1.1 of Stone, effects are now at bank level. You can choose which bank you are affecting using the little button next to the volume knob. Remember that saturate and stereo are at instrument level, but the rest of the effects are at bank level, which gives you much greater flexibility in shaping and sculpting your sound. The low pass and high pass symbols are also buttons which reveal further controls. Here you can see the resonance for the filter, LFO sync button which syncs with your DAW or your host, LFO intensity, LFO frequency, LFO shape, which is a drop-down menu, and LFO fade-in time. I chose not to label all of the sliders just for aesthetic reasons really, but if you change the view on Kontakt, I have scripted in some help text which you can see at the bottom, just if you want to remind yourself what slider is doing what. Using this interface is a fast and simple way to build harmonically rich instruments. Then, shaping and sculpting the sound with the built-in effects can create something wild and new and yours. I've included a folder of presets to get you started. Let's see how a couple of those sound.